friends, I wanted to understand how we could use this knowledge now in our modern world. I called Professor Cordain to see if anyone, medical professional or scientist, was putting this evolutionary nutrition method of eating into practice with real patients. He suggested I contact Dr. Lane Sebring at the Sebring Clinic in Wembley, Texas, who is having extraordinary results with his patients employing just such an evolution-based method of eating.
One of the things I tell my patients, it's nice to know improvement's possible. Every year the doctor adds a new pill to your list and you've got another problem and the hope starts to fade. I sort of break food into two categories, human food and non-human food. And the human foods would be the lean meat, chicken, fish, turkey, etc., preferably from an animal eating what it's designed to eat. Fruits, nuts, and vegetables. The non-human food would be the grains, which is probably the worst problem we've got. Dairy after 2 years old, we're not designed for dairy after 2 years old, certainly not from another animal. Beans and potatoes. And so those are the simple categories that I put them in. And people understand that, I understand that. And it helps me to make choices. Grains cause us to lose height. They cause a narrowing of the sphenoid bone here. Our bones aren't strong enough to support the full weight. And that buttress the skull, and so this is narrowed. This bone now is narrowed down. And so we have smaller brains as a result of eating grains. We have more scrunched up noses we can't breathe through. And we have a jaw that can't hold the full complement of teeth. And so we get overlapping teeth, or we have no room for our wisdom teeth. And that's common to all civilized groups on the planet because they eat grains. And that happened when that began, and that follows the introduction of grains into the diet. They bring in gluten. They bring in yeast. They cause a chronic inflammatory state of the gut. And as a big initiator of almost all our chronic inflammatory diseases, autoimmune diseases, rheumatoid arthritis, virtually absent in the archaeologic record prior to the institution of grains into the diet. I try to get patients to realize what they need to do is to think about protein as time-released glucose. Okay? You think about protein, the liver can take protein and turn it into glucose in a time-release fashion. Work harder makes more. Okay? That's how we're truly designed. How beautiful is that? So you got steady energy all day long. But if you eat a bunch of carbohydrates, then the insulin level goes up and insulin goes to the liver. It shuts off the conversion of protein into glucose. So now, if you had a steak for breakfast, you can't get to it for energy, you see? And so your sugars are going to start crashing pretty soon. And at that point, the only way to get it back up is either to rest a little bit, and you can sort of stuff more protein in and that is to bring it up. But a lot of times at that point, they're craving carbs. They want something quick, they want it now. And they don't feel good. Each meal should start with a major source of protein. Surround that with all the vegetables you want. And then in between meals, if you want some fruits and nuts, or maybe even with the meal, you can do that as well. Like I like to throw nuts in a big green salad. Sometimes fruit in there as well. And if you need those two work. The fruits and nuts work great for snacks.
Doctor, here we are at Brookshire Brothers Supermarket. The supermarket here in town. And most people shop at a regular supermarket, and they want to really know and understand what they should buy and what they shouldn't buy when they go shopping. So how about we go inside and you show us what to do?
The healthiest meat are the larger cuts of meat. You want to get larger cuts of meat. And so, here we've got some pork tenderloin. Here's some more of my favorite here, sirloin steak. Here we go, some ribeyes.
Let's get some distinctions here, because a lot of people that are on the run or whatnot, they'll get frozen vegetables or canned vegetables, and they don't feel like they have time for fresh. Is it any good for us?
Well, between the frozen and the canned, the frozen is much better for you. It's not, they often add some salt, but here's some collard greens, etc. These are frozen, these are quick frozen, and so maintain their freshness. In some cases, the frozen can be even better than old, fresh, that's been laying around for a while, because this sort of, for the most part, can stop any sort of decline by freezing. Romaine lettuce is much better for you than the iceberg lettuce.
It's just a lot more nutritional value.
A lot more nutritional value. The color tells you an awful lot. The more color it's got, the better it is for you. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to be careful because there's an awful lot of pesticides used in red bell peppers and strawberries and a few things like that. Because they have to do that if they're not going to be going organic. Here we've got some beautiful fruit. Each one of these is going to be loaded with nutrients. It's really hard to overdo this. If you're diabetic, you need to be careful not having too much fruit.
Right, because
one of these a day.
there's still a lot of fruit sugar in fruit.
There is, right, fructose. And fructose can do some bad things to you in high amounts.
Right.
Especially if you're diabetic. Exercise does that damage, by the way, and that's another lecture. But this is an excellent source of, especially of energy through the day. You know, eat half an apple in between a meal, it's great. You know, and then eat the other half later. Or an orange, it doesn't really matter. You should eat the orange and not the orange juice. Orange juice can be way too much sugar. People hear a lot of times whole grain oatmeal. Whole grains have problems, nutritional problems, that the refined grains don't. So you can't win either way.
Well, they have their own set of problems.
They have their own set of
The
problems.
whole grain thing that's coming up now actually
It's a
creates
gimmick.
Oh.
It's a gimmick. They're touting whole grain. Sounds kind of like wholesome.
They could have hearts on there, right? Pure heart.
That's what and that's what we're led to believe. But it's marketing.
So, and so what are the new problems you get if you have a whole grain?
Well, again, it holds a lot of the minerals in the gut. You can absorb those.
Okay.
It blocks the absorption of a lot of the nutrients we need. So it actually raises your appetite. And increases your need for a good multiple vitamin that you should take separate from the whole grains. You take a multiple vitamin with minerals and you've got a bunch of grains that go with that. You're not going to get any of it.
Okay, so you were giving me that top list of things to avoid, and that included bread, the staple of American life,
Right.
pretty much.
It's what unfortunately, it's not good for us.
Okay.
If we don't change some things, we're not going to fix this problem. So, here's a white bread. There's not much in here that's good for you at all. It blocks absorption of nutrients. It promotes osteoporosis, etc. It's sugar. 2 slices of French bread, a 1/4 cup of sugar, and a medium baked potato are virtually identical.
Oh, okay, so 2 pieces of French bread are the same as a 1/4 cup of sugar.
Exactly.
Baked potato, same as a 1/4.
Some people, the sugar goes up faster with the bread than it does with the 1/4 cup of sugar.
Really?
Yes.
Now that's interesting.
Yeah. Not everyone, but most people, but some people.
So-
And here we've got,
Oatmeal bread.
yeah, this is
There you
good.
go.
This is supposed to be good for us, but it's not. This actually has problems that this one doesn't have. It actually holds more of the minerals into the gut from being absorbed than this one does.
Because it's got the whole
It's
grain.
got the whole thing in there, and those molecules bind up a lot of our minerals that we need.
So this whole this whole grain push that's going on now, kind of coming out of the whole against the low carb thing,
That's right.
saying, this is much healthier for you. It's not, it's just not accurate.
It's a marketing strategy, just like selling us on soy.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So there's really not good for you. Okay, this is a no.
Very good. This is big on the no list.
Big on the no list. Now, okay, here's a perfect example of something that could be marketed as fat-free. And fat-free is supposed to be good for us.
We're on this side.
Fat-free is supposed to be good for us, but in fact, and there's no fat in here. So it's fat-free, but there's nothing worse for you on the planet than to eat all this sugar.
But it's got butter right on the front.
Right, but it's not.
So it's fat-free, and there's nothing worse for you.
High fructose corn syrup. Okay, this is what you're really trying to avoid. Clogs up your arteries.
That's the number one ingredient.
That's about all it is.
Okay.
After that, it's salt. So there's nothing in there that you want.
Right, and that's true for probably most of the syrups and those kinds of things.
Then you've got the sugar-free version, and then you have to worry about what have they put in here. It's probably not found in nature. It's probably something completely manufactured. Our body knows nothing of what to do with it, and often works as neurotransmitters in the brain that mess up our thinking, cause fogging of thinking, etc. Even shown to produce depression. Here's something off the shelf. Look at this.
My goodness, it almost looks like candy.
Well,
Like on Halloween that you would get all this sugar and.
that's exactly what it is. It's just coated with thick icing on these little mini wheats. And so the ingredients here is whole grain wheat. We've already talked about the fact that how there's nothing in wheat that's good for you. I mean, if you look at it, it's kind of the scourge of health. It's the beginning of the downfall of our health. Sugar is next, sorbitol, gelatin, reduced iron. They've thrown in some minerals in here which are not going to be absorbed because of the grains hold that. And it's whole grains, so it's going to hold it even more. So this is, you're better off not eating than eating this. And unless you're dying of starvation, you can't get any sugar to the brain. This will help you get sugar to the brain, and that's all it'll do for you.
Every once in a while, it looks to me like maybe some of the good stuff is hidden in the middle of it.
This is about it.
This is how
This is about it. Here you've got some walnuts, very good food.
Those are great.
Pecans, almonds. These, they're hard to overdo.
So this is a yes.
This is a yes. This is a big yes.
There's just so many things here in the store that can do us damage if we're not really aware if we don't.
The answer is, in truth, almost all of it. Almost all of it. If you go to the fruits and the nuts and the vegetables and the lean meats and chicken, then you're good. It's wonderful for you. You know, and people go to check out in this little town, they see me checking out, and I'm pretty good about how I eat, and they see and they just think, boy, I wish I was going to your house for dinner. You know, but I've loaded up the steaks and the roasts and all the fresh greens and salads. There's much more color. I mean, here comes somebody right behind me with, you know, they're kind of hiding and stuff because they know what I do and how I think about it. And I had a patient one time that told me, she said, you know, Dr. Sebring, after reading about this, and I realized that nothing we bought was good for us. Nothing we ate was good for us. I shop very differently now. That's a lot quicker shopping. I'm just in and out. I grab these few things and I'm right out. I don't have to peruse the aisles and trying to figure out, is this good for me or that? I already know it's not.
When we started eating meats, that allowed the brain to double in size. Over 25% of our energy is used in the brain. And I've seen studies as high as 70%, depending on what factors they're looking at. So we got this compact source of food, which was animal, the proteins and fats, that very nutrient dense, and that allowed us then to double the brain size. So, you know, we don't want to forsake that. There's a reason why that worked that way, and when we do, we get into trouble. And you know, sometimes I feel like we're on the precipice here, falling off. If we don't, and I feel like that, you know, maybe we've just learned just enough in time through Cordain and Boyd Eaton, etc., that's going to give us the knowledge we'll grab ourselves before we fall off the precipice of health here. It's going fast, and nobody's paying attention. Everybody's got their individual plan for themselves, basically, perpetuate their wealth or what have you. And instead of looking at the big picture, they're not thinking about their kids, their grandkids. I mean, nutritionists on the saying that the children born today will outlive their parents because they've never had good nutrition. And I've got 11-year-old type 2 diabetics. And
Type 2 is dietary induced?
Dietary induced. And when I first graduated medical school, I saw anybody under 55 with type 2 diabetes. I've got children who haven't even hit puberty yet, and they've got type 2 diabetes. And so we've made a lot of mistakes here, and hopefully we can turn this around.
My 10-year global search for the perfect human diet has been an amazing and enlightening treasure hunt, revealing a wealth of ancestral and traditional dietary insights, as well as the most recent anthropological understandings of our species' dietary evolution. But what I find most fascinating is the knowledge that has been unlocked through technological advancements in the anthropological sciences, namely, hard scientific proof of what was previously unknowable, what we actually ate to develop the health, strength, and brain power to become the dominant species on the planet. We can now clearly see that whenever and wherever domesticated grains and plant foods became our species' major source of protein, our health declined, and that animal proteins and fats are irreplaceable in an optimal human diet. This knowledge is a game changer. Clearly, the prevailing media and government message is that meat and animal protein are inherently unhealthy, and we should be eating less. But I hope that what we've learned on our search will elevate and inspire the public conversation to include the fullest range of what is now known about the authentic human diet, and that it will eventually be enthusiastically embraced by our government officials when forming public policy.